Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Dan Daly, Senior Marketing Manager at LinkedIn, and I'm joined by Aurélien Mottier, President at memoryBlue. Aurélien, maybe you could kick us off. Tell us a little about yourself, who you are, what your role is, and something not on your LinkedIn profile.
Sure. So my name is Aurélien Mottier. Nickname is Ray for Aurélien. I'm the President and CEO at memoryBlue. We are a B2B professional service organization, sales and marketing professional services, and we help B2B software companies to accelerate their growth across the world. Something not on my LinkedIn profile. I have 3 boys. Eden is 8-year-old, Matteo, 6-year-old, and Elio, 2 years old. We picked the name very carefully because we had to find name that you would be able to pronounce in English, Korean, and French, because my wife is Korean. So we can't have another boy basically because I think we use everything that was available to us.
Very good. Well, I think you're a busy house anyway, right?
Oh yeah.
Cool. So we're going to have a chat today about how the B2B buying landscape has changed and maybe what salespeople or sales organizations can do about it or how they can react, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, maybe tell me in your experience, what about the buying and selling relationship is different in 2026? You know, what's different about the landscape?
There's a lot to unpack here, Dan. Okay, so I think maybe we start on the buyer side. Okay, the buyer ecosystem seems to have progressed quite a lot. Okay, I think now you may have more sign-off for smaller budget. Okay, so if I take an example, maybe you would need 3 sign-off for a 50K AR budget 3 years ago. Now you may need 6. Okay, everything is a little bit more scrutinized. Everything is a little bit more scrutinized because things got AI in it or some things that could be getting out there. You've got more data protection. You've got also companies are maybe not as successful as they used to be from a cash production perspective. So the way people are investing is a little bit more careful. Okay, and with that carefulness we see a larger buying consensus being created. So instead of influencing 5 people maybe 3 years ago, you may have to influence 7 or 8 now, okay? And that's a big shift for sales because it's much more work and it could elongate your sales cycles, okay? But you could also shorten your sales cycle if you engage with those people early. So right time and adapting your messaging because you can't have the same message for everybody. You've got to adapt your message to the people. But that buyer landscape is changing. I think the buyers are also probably a little bit more cynical than they used to be. Most of them have a friend called ChatGPT or a friend called Claude or Perplexity or Gemini, and they tend to go and do their research there. Okay, but that's changing because now you engage with buyers who think they know your market better than you. They may have been influenced by that voice before you actually engage with them. They may not want to speak to you early in the process, so they may not. You will not be able to push back on maybe ways where they are not looking at that issue in the right dimension or through the right angle. So you need to pick them up at a later stage in the process, which means that helping them to go towards the right solution for their problem may be a little bit more difficult because they're already opinionated about what they should do. The sellers are the same. They get signals from everywhere. Well, I think there is a very interesting relationship between quality and quantity. And I think sales, particularly when you're doing enterprise sales, more larger deals and stuff like that, it's not about quantity. It's about the quality of your interaction. Okay, engaging with the right company, engaging with the right person in that organization, at the right time, ideally, with the right message. Right? Try to scale that.
So the idea first is that maybe it all starts with picking the right account, right? Making sure that you've got the right product fit. Because if you can't solve a problem for someone, you're just, everything after that is wasted effort.
Yeah.
So understanding maybe the sort of signals that tell a salesperson that this buyer is a good market fit for their product, for their services, does that resonate with you? Do you think that being more adaptable in terms of how you pick the right accounts?
Yes, I think it's about being adaptable about how you pick the accounts. It's picking the right individual in the accounts and engaging with the right message. Okay, and what's the call to action that you want to give them? I'm a big believer in nurturing. One of the issues that I see sometimes is that we are trying to push people for a meeting that may not be ready to take a meeting. We try to push people to buy something that may not be ready to buy something. And what you are doing here, you may be breaking the trust. Okay, and the trust is a very interesting element to discuss because we think about AI to scale, but how do you build that trust with the buyer? Would you buy something from someone you don't trust?
I might buy like toothpaste or something like that, but I'm not going to buy a B2B, piece of software. I'm not going to make a career-defining decision. That would need certainly a human element to it.
I do believe that if you engage with the right ICP, you engage with the right people, you treat them respectfully for a cycle of 18 months to 3 years, eventually there will be a review of what they are doing, and you will be sitting at the review process. That's your job as a sales team. Your job is to be sure that if there is a company in your ICP that is making a decision around your solution, you are at the table to discuss with them.
How important is it for your teams to know that you're relying on, say, LinkedIn data through Sales Navigator, that it's real time, that it's first party, that it's actionable, and it removes, I suppose, a degree of that ambiguity as to whether or not it gives you the confidence to make decisions around it.
The way we are set up, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a great tool. Like, for all our sellers, you can connect things, you can see stuff, you get RSS feeds, you get all those things coming up, you open it up, you see what's going on, new people coming in, you can create alerts, filters. This is pretty cool, okay? That give you an opportunity or excuses to go and engage with someone. That potentially give you a signal that show you that something is in danger. You are selling to someone, you've been 6 months at it, that's your champion, is leaving the company. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, so what do you do about it? Does that change the way you're going to forecast that deal, etc., etc.? So there's lots of things that are very, very interesting with the LinkedIn data. But then there is also the fact that you can understand a ton of voice of the people you are trying to engage with LinkedIn. Like some of the signals that you guys provide in that environment are very, very interesting to give the opportunity for a salesperson to pick up the phone or to send a note to a client or to a prospect.
Are there any aspects or features or anecdotes about Sales Navigator that have surfaced from memoryBlue? Anything that you care to share there?
One of the things that my team is doing also very well is to pick posts that are actually looking for our services. Okay, so there is some keywords, and we've got some alerts, and we've got some specific filters that we want to put because, again, you don't want to engage with everybody. It needs to be a company in your ICP. Okay, but we really pick pretty much every single post that would ask for a pipeline/revenue generation support. Yep. Can you get me someone that can speak to me about getting my pipeline progressing quickly, or helping with my deal velocity, or helping me to increase my average deal value? We pick all those keywords. And then my guys will use also Sales Navigator to kind of connect. If it's done, posting about I'm looking for a company that could help me with such and such, do I have someone in my network that knows you? And if you do that with 2 or 3 people and you've got the name of your company coming a few times and say you should call Ray, you should call Ray, you should call Ray, well, guess what? First of all, the other people looking at the posts see that. It's that sort of using the community to support you. And we've closed, I think for the last use case about finding people, we probably closed 2 deals a month minimum that are just that.
Maybe let's wrap up with one other question then, which is, we've talked a lot about how buying and selling has changed, the way technology can help or hinder perhaps. But maybe what's one piece of advice that you would give to other revenue leaders out there who are looking at the environment, the changed environment, to ensure that you're always keeping the customer center in mind and you're building that trust consistently?
I think trust is probably the most important thing here. I think coming back to what I said earlier on, I think it's volume versus quality. So how do you ensure that yes, your people are productive and putting enough volume, but most importantly, how do they have quality conversation? What's the feedback of the prospect and the people you sell to? Are you really putting the buyer in the center of the process? Yeah. Or are you trying to fit them in your process because you are scaling and you can't, computer says no? How do you deploy AI tools to support your reps to become better? If I was to speak to a sales leader, I'd say, well, I think there is a few ways you can deploy AI to do like the mundane task of a rep, okay, of what a rep should do. The first pillar is probably around the data. That really helps you to understand what's going on in the accounts, prioritize who to go after first, etc., etc. The second step is how do you use AI to train, coach, and better your reps? Okay, so for that we're using a solution called MindTickle. Okay, Mintical does the AI call scoring, but because we are a conveyor belt of talent, we create sales talent, so we recruit people at the beginning of their sales career and we make them salespeople. For us, we wanted something that can not only do the AI coaching, but also can support us in building an AI career development path. What's great with AI is that sometimes there is no emotion into it. And they say, no, you're not good for that. You're never going to be an AE because you score really low on that. You should look at customer success potentially. And then after that, what do you do with the opportunity? How can you use AI to maximize your chance to close that opportunity based on historical data? And we are a guinea pig of our own ideas. So we are using our own sales team doing that, and we've got some great results, but we need to do a little bit more fine-tuning. But yeah.
I mean, try, test, evaluate. I mean, it sounds like you guys just have the right foundational understanding, though, of, I mean, you talked about trust there, so it sounds like you've got, you know, your heart's in the right place. If you keep that in mind, you know, whether technology comes and goes and stuff.
But trust is important.
It'll always play it. Look, I think that's all we've got time for today, but I wanted to say thank you so much for lending us your time and your expertise, and we look forward to having you back in another 9 months to see how your transformation journey is going. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. Cheers. Thank you.